Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything going on in the world of sports. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it simple.
Welcome to an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast. What is going on, everyone? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken M. Joining me in studio, as always, you know him. He's the co-host. He's the statistician to the stars. He's the man of 1,008 aliases. His name is Padawan J.
Let me talk to you.
And boy, we have a lot to talk about in the land of sports.
First of all, to those of you in the Northeast and on the East Coast of the United States, I hope you're staying cool.
Yes.
Because good God, summer and Mother Nature decided to smack us in the mouth.
Yes, currently in the midst of quite the heat wave.
As I'm looking on AccuWeather.com right now here in our neck of the woods, it says 90 degrees with a real feel of 93. For those of you metric system folks, that's just over 32 degrees Celsius. At one point, I know today I looked at my phone just because my air in my apartment was running longer than I felt it should. I was like, oh, it must be warm outside. I saw 94. So it's been fun.
See, this is why I always say, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. But we can talk about weather another time. You came in here, a parlay of topics, and we're going to be breaking down everything going on in Atlanta sports, and we definitely want to keep the show rocking after the show is all said and done. So, Pat, where does everybody go for the after party?
ODPHpodcast.com.
That's right. You head over to the website, social media links, blogs, TeePublic store link, classified section, which has friends of the show such as 3FM Podcast, Dragon Master Games, Nerd Initiative, and many more. A directory pad. How many providers are we on?
225,868.
And your source?
Trust me, bro.
So wherever you listen to the ODPH on, first and foremost, thank you for checking us out. It means the absolute world. Drop us a review on your favorite podcatcher. It helps the algorithm of the show. As I've been told, the algorithm is what everything goes around, so make it happen. And last but certainly not least, it's summertime. You want to get some new music loaded up. Go check out our music section, which has such great musicians as Brian Wolf and the Howlers, Second Suitor, Tom Joe, Lou Floodlands, and Shadow of the Robots. All have great music that you definitely want to make sure you're playing all through the summer and year round. And if it's anything else that I might have forgotten, because, hey, we do a lot of work here at the ODPH, find it at odphpodcast.com. And remember on social media to use the hashtag ODPHpod. Kicking off this edition of the show, well, Pad, we have a champion in the land of the National Basketball Association.
Yes, we do.
The long wait is over. The storylines were there. And now we can officially say the Oklahoma City Thunder are your 2024-2025 NBA champions. A lot of stuff to break down here, so Pat, why don't you tip us off?
Yeah, so where we left off in the last game was with the Oklahoma City Thunder winning Game 5 and going up 3-2. So that just left Game 6 and 7 if necessary, and of course Game 6 did take place this past week that was June 19th, so it was on Thursday, where, boy howdy, was that one over relatively quickly because the game finished with the Indiana Pacers winning by a final score of 108-91. Of course, the big story coming out of this game was everybody talking about Tyrese Halliburton and the calf strain. Didn't really hurt that much that the game was such a blowout because, well, he only played 23 minutes, scoring 14 points. But that was the big question going into Game 7. How much is he going to play? Will he play at all? What's the status of his calf? How are things feeling? Because it was pivotal. Of course, Game 7, win or go home. And we found out, unfortunately, very quickly because just about 7-8 minutes into the first quarter of the game, Tyrese was driving up the court and planted his foot and dropped immediately. Writhing in pain, screaming, and the trainers came out immediately, and it was not good. And I think anybody, even, myself, who's not the biggest basketball fan, I watch, I understand, but, I'm not a savant, as one would say, could tell, this ain't good. Was helped off of the court by teammates and trainers, taken back to the locker room. It was then reported a little bit later by Lisa Salters, the ESPN reporter who was working the sidelines, quote unquote, there at the game. She spoke to Halliburton's father, and he did confirm, because all the Pacers had said up to that point was, it's a lower leg injury. He's not going to come back. which I think watching that we all figured, and we were all kind of fearing the worst news, and the worst news did come true, that it was a Achilles tendon rupture.
So, unfortunately, Halliburton went out, and obviously our thoughts and well wishes go out to him for a speedy and healthy recovery.
Absolutely.
I know, obviously, he's an Indiana Pacer, and being a New York Knicks fan, not really supposed to be rooting them on, but obviously this supersedes any kind of rivalry. You never like to see a player get hurt like this, and unfortunately, this was the third one in the playoffs that did.
Yes. What was
Damian Lillard?
Dame Lillard, Jason Tatum, and then Halliburton, all wearing the number 0.
Yeah, it's a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
Very weird.
All in the East.
Yeah, it is, but it goes to show, I mean, obviously, when you play a sport at a high level, you have to really take care of yourself, and sometimes freak injuries happen.
Well, and that's the risk you run with calf injuries, is there's such a finicky thing, just in everyday life, that you could be walking down the street, all of a sudden you feel a pull, and you're like, oh, well, what's going on? Am I getting a cramp? Is something wrong here? But then 2 minutes later, it's like nothing ever happened. But when you're talking basketball injuries, there's such a finicky thing because you don't know the severity of them.
Yeah.
There's really no way to gauge it. The ideal method for treatment would be rest and sit them and, kind of take your weight off of it. But unfortunately, Halliburton's a gamer like that, and there's no way, and what he's going to sit out a Game 7.
Well, that's the whole thing. He was never going to sit out a Game 7. Nobody was going to. If you could physically walk on that court, you were going to play.
Dude is of that mindset like Derek Jeter used to be, where he would need to be missing a limb for him to not play.
Well, I think anybody that is a competitor would be in that same situation.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question of that.
Yeah.
I think it was a situation of them pulling off the big win in Game 6, tying it up, pushing it to a Game 7. It was going to be literally leave it on the court no matter what was going to happen. And the game was very close in the beginning, and Halliburton was on fire to start out with.
Halliburton ended up finishing with more three-pointers made than the rest of the starting 5 for the Indiana Pacers and the rest of the bench, which is kind of wild.
It is wild, but I think ultimately, no matter how you want to put an asterisk on this game, Oklahoma City was going to win.
Yeah.
There was no question about this, because what they did in the third quarter, I think had Halliburton played, it would have been a smaller gap, but I still think they would have taken over, because what happened, and this is absolutely wild to think about, that second half, third quarter especially, the Thunder played flawless basketball.
Oh, yeah.
And off 10 turnovers, I want to say.
Oh, my Lord. It was something insane.
They wound up converting for points on each possession, which you can't afford to do in these types of games.
So, boy, you're off by a few. The Indiana Pacers had a total of 23 turnovers.
Right, but in the second half.
Oh, in the second half,
That's
yeah.
where I was going with.
Gotcha.
No, second half they did, I want to say it was 10 in that quarter.
Something insane.
And the Thunder never turned it over.
The Thunder had 14 steals for the entire game.
Right, but a majority of that came
second half.
In that second half.
Yeah, you're right.
That's where I'm going with this, because that was the telltale sign.
Yeah.
The Pacers, as bad as things had gotten with Halliburton going down, Siakam tried rallying the troops, and he really was putting his best foot forward. But that second half, that's when the Thunder made adjustments.
Oh, yeah.
Their defense stepped up. Caruso was all over the place.
It was a night and day difference.
And I think it really sunk into those players that this is now or never. The fact that, okay, Halliburton's out. They have to change up their schemes. But Indiana had played well without him in the lineup, too, throughout the series as well.
Yeah.
It's not to say that he was dropping 35 a night.
Right.
But still, he is a very important piece of this team. I'm not going to take anything away from that.
I'll say the backup point guards for Indiana aren't any, schmucks.
Right. And especially one performance that was outshadowed in this game is T.J. McCollum, who he went crazy in that third quarter.
Yeah.
And he kept it a lot closer than it probably should have been.
Yeah.
But he was smart about it because he was trying to attack the rim and draw fouls. And he was getting a lot of contact there. He had the right idea. But I think when it ultimately came down to it, the Thunder's defense shut down everything. And they made points off turnovers, and that was really the story of the game right there.
Yeah, it was a night and day difference, like you said, just because they brought it up at one point during, I want to say it was the second quarter, where Oklahoma City went down the floor, three-pointer, drained it. Pacers came back down the court, three-pointer, drained it. It was like watching, a heavyweight boxing match, punch for punch, blow for blow. And then, like you said, went into halftime. Oklahoma City made the adjustments, the better adjustments. Indiana couldn't counter, and Oklahoma came out and emerged victorious, and, all the better for it. And congratulations to them for winning the championship. I know some people are making a comment, and there's this whole online discussion about how kind of subdued the Thunder were after the game and how they weren't really going crazy. And it was kind of, well, you think about it, they're happy they just won, but they did so under a fashion that was less than ideal, I would say, where Indiana was down their star player and they don't want to look like, oh yeah, we won, never mind the fact your star player's down, but yeah.
I don't think it was that.
Okay.
I think, honestly, this team is wired a lot different than most teams. You have to think, they're all relatively young.
Like the youngest team in the league or something.
Right. And they really kept themselves composed. And it was something of a champion mentality, I thought.
Okay.
That they didn't go crazy. I think there was, they only opened 8 bottles of champagne in the locker room after the game.
Because the only one on the team who knew how to open a champagne bottle was Caruso.
Yeah.
At least that's the story I read.
Yeah, I think I read something about that
They had to ask Caruso. I forget who it was. One of the Thunder had to ask Caruso how to open a bottle of champagne because they never had before.
Mm-hmm. So I think for a lot of those players, they were expecting to win, but they also kept it very composed.
Yeah.
And I think, but you have to think about it. Shea Gilgeous-Anderson.
Yeah.
He's not exactly a loud player.
Not usually.
Not a real charismatic, going to leave you sound bites all over the place.
No.
And I think the players really model their game and demeanor after him. Like, he's the catalyst for this team, and especially putting up the 29 in the final.
Yeah.
That he is the one that really dictated the pace for everybody, especially on and off the court. Holmgren, he had a great game too, 18. Jalen Williams had 20.
Yeah.
They really looked like they expected this moment, and I think they really kept it calm because I think now they really bought into, we have something special here.
Yeah.
The only question that's going to be a problem for them moving forward is Oklahoma City is loaded with draft picks.
Oh my God, yeah, they are.
And when it starts getting time to start paying a lot of these players max contracts, there's only so much money to go around.
Right.
I think this team understands it. I think they are willing to take on the grind as long as they have it. But I think for a dynasty, they have a chance to really make a run for the next couple of years.
Well, they got at least a decent shot next year. I'm looking on Spotrac.com for the NBA free agents and specifically the Oklahoma City Thunder for this upcoming offseason. They have 5 players listed as quote-unquote free agents. Excuse me. You've got Ajay Mitchell and Jalen Williams, but excuse me, both have a club option. And then the remaining 3 are restricted free agent / two-way players. And they are Braden Carlson, Alex Dukas, and Adam Flagler. Those are your 5 free agents for Oklahoma City this upcoming offseason. So by and large, the core of that team is staying intact, for this. So they could, in theory, make a decent run next year.
And we have to also make sure the Jalen Williams that you're referring to spells his name with a Y, not an E, correct?
That is the Jalen with a Y, not an E.
Yes, the one with the E is the one, the starter. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they have their core nucleus still intact, and they have a chance to add some pieces in the NBA draft, or depending on if they want to make a big splash in free agency.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I just looked at the year after. Yeah, they're going to it's not this offseason that's going to be a headache. It's the one after.
Right.
The one after, they've got 10 players on that list, including Isaiah Hartenstein, Luguentz Dort, Chet Holmgren, let's see, and then Jalen with an E is on that list as well.
Yeah, see, that's where they're going to have the problem.
Yeah, there's a lot. Although there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 10 are club options. 1, 2, 3 are restricted free agents with a bird option. There's one that's a restricted free agent with an early bird option, and then there's an unrestricted free agent bird option with Jalen Williams, Jaylin Williams.
Well, that's where they're going to have to really kind of assess as they move forward.
Yeah.
And for this team, I think they have a chance to really make a run a la Golden State.
Sure.
They have the pieces in place.
Oh, yeah.
As long as Caruso's coming off that bench, they're fine. Because I think he's the unsung hero on this team. Hartenstein, I'm happy to see him. I mean, I wish he did. I wish he did in orange and blue, but I understand because they gave him a contract that he couldn't turn down.
Sure.
But he was one of the big pieces there as well. Like, they have a very solid core.
Oh, yeah.
They have more draft picks than anybody realizes because everybody forgets 2 years ago they only won 22 games.
Something like that.
So then they moved a lot of pieces around too. So it makes sense that this team is in for the long haul. It just depends on how the rest of the league responds to them.
Good God Almighty!
So they can definitely make some noise happen. What's that?
I'm looking at their. So this is according to Fanspo.com, and this is the incoming draft picks the Oklahoma City Thunder have. And I'm just going to read what they are. So they've got they've got the 2 first rounds in the 2025 round draft, 1 from Miami, 1 from the Clippers. They've got a second round coming in 2025, so that's 3. They got 4, 5, 6, 7, with those 4 coming in 2026. They've got another 1, 2, 3, 4 in 2027. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 more in 2028. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What the hell?
Yeah.
7 in 2029. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 2030, and then they've only got 2 in 2031.
Well, that was a Paul George deal, I believe, to get him out.
It doesn't specify
for LA for the Clippers.
But how many is that? Good Lord.
Oh yeah, no,
that's insane.
Oh, that's what I say. They're loaded up with picks. So
yeah.
as wild,
they ain't hurting.
As wild as this is to say, even if they lose a Holmgren, hypothetically, or Williams, they'll be fine.
Yeah, they can either swap picks or they can trade a player with some picks and get somebody back.
Well, I know the rumor, and I want to stress rumor, was if they had lost these finals, they could have made a play for Giannis, and they have enough picks they could have got him.
Oh, Lord, that would have been scary.
Yeah. I mean, they still could.
They could.
In theory.
Yeah.
But I think for right now, they're celebrating the win. And, yeah, granted, it might be a little more subdued, but I just think it's because of that culture they have built down there that they're accustomed to winning.
Sure.
Like, they don't need to really go completely crazy, even though I will say this, I want to applaud their fan base. Stood the entire game.
That was insane. That's a level of energy and dedication I don't think I have.
Yeah, the Oklahoma City fans were amazing in that game. And I think that's the synergy that they have with that city. I think it just reflects on the players. Like, they didn't need to go crazy. I mean, the parade today, I believe, one of them they were doing.
Yeah.
Great turnout, but like I say, it was nothing super out of control.
No.
But I wasn't expecting it because you take a look at the core nucleus of this team, and they're all very young. They're all very composed. You're not hearing a lot of trash talk come from them. You're not hearing anything. So it is kind of refreshing to hear them. But I think that they were just so locked in on the season, especially when you see where they've come. And obviously, this is the first time Oklahoma City has won a title in Oklahoma City. It's the second one for the Seattle/OKC.
I'm not counting it for the Seattle Supersonics.
Oh, I don't
brand.
either. Well, that's the whole thing.
It might be the same owner or same ownership group or whatever it is. It's a different team.
Oh, yeah, no, completely. But you have to keep this in perspective.
Yeah.
That's
like, saying some player on the Washington Nationals, broke a record set by somebody who pitched for the Montreal Expos.
Right.
Like, okay, the lineage is there, and sure, it's the team that moved. It's not the same team.
Right, as I was saying, though.
Yeah.
It's the first one for Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
If you really want to get, very technical of it, is the second one.
By the way, I made a trade for Giannis to the Thunder work.
Oh, I believe it.
I've Hartenstein and Holmgren straight up for Giannis. Money works.
Oh, the money will work. They can definitely make a lot of moves, and that's going to be the real interesting thing as we transition into Wednesday night in the NBA draft. But just to kind of put a bow on the season, definitely a better finals than I thought we were going to have.
Yeah, it wasn't. I wouldn't necessarily say it was the best in recent memory, nor would I say it's the best of all time. It was good though.
It was good. No, it was good. I think there was a lot of drama out of this.
There was a lot of drama by the end.
Well, at the end, because anytime you push it to a Game 7, you're going to draw something. And I know the ratings were very high for Game 7, and that's good because you did have an entertaining game. Even with Halliburton going down, the Pacers were still in this game. It's just they had that terrible third quarter where they were outscored 34-20. They didn't bounce back from it. And that's the one thing that you could make the argument per se. If Halliburton stayed healthy, it would have been closer. I still think OKC would have won because I think they had enough momentum swinging in their favor.
Yeah.
That they would have been fine. And plus, I also think that if Halliburton had stayed in, they would have locked him up a little bit. He wouldn't have had as many great open shots in the second half as he did the first.
Yeah.
I really think that this was going to be OKC's no matter what, but they will be in good shape as we go into next season. Indiana, without Halliburton.
Because, Halliburton's going to be out all next year.
Yeah.
Halliburton's going to be out all next year. Tatum's going to be out all next year, so the East is going to be real interesting.
The East is wide open, and I do mean this sincerely.
Sure.
Anybody could literally emerge from this and take the East next
You
year.
could see the Toronto Raptors in the NBA Finals. Hell, the process might finally come through in Philly.
Well, depending, because as we transition to talking about the NBA draft, there is a chance. I'm even going to say this. Depending on what happens with the Knicks,
Right.
it's now or never with this team because you don't have a more clear path to the finals than you do right now. Mm-hmm. Even if Thibodeau had stayed, I would say they would arguably be one of the favorites.
Right.
In that.
Sure.
See, I'm getting so excited. I messed up my word saying arguably, but it is okay. In these situations, it's going to be wide open, but they're also going to be building a lot off of draft night as we go to it. Mm-hmm. And obviously, the NBA season does not wait too long to go into phase.
Good Lord, guys are already exercising their options, and players are already getting traded. Kevin Durant got traded to Houston.
Yeah, let's break that down, shall we?
A little surprised, especially at the amount Houston gave up to get him. Good Lord.
Well, the thing about it is,
I get it, though.
We heard rumors that there was going to be certain players that are going to be on the move. We knew Kevin Durant was going to be one of them. Now, I was surprised they did it during the finals. That was a little more shocking than not.
Yeah.
But like I say, it was just something that as we change phases into the draft mode here, I think the teams wanted to see, okay, if we can move him, let's get him done before the draft. Houston did give up a lot for him.
So according to reports, and this I know was reported by, I believe it was Shams Charania, the Phoenix Suns and Houston Rockets are linked up to send Kevin Durant to Houston for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 overall pick in this upcoming Wednesday's draft, and 5 second-round picks.
See, I think they overpaid. I really do.
The other thing I've heard is that, and again, this is all rumors, and it's not like I've got front office people direct DMing me. The thing I've heard though is that one side of, and again rumors, Kevin Durant was trying, or one of the sides was trying to lower this trade value so low that it was almost like Houston couldn't say no.
Well, I think that he had 3 teams, if memory serves me right, he wanted to go to.
Well, the rumors were San Antonio, Miami.
Yep. And
Houston. I know the Knicks were thrown in there at one point during the rumors,
but he wasn't signing
an
extension.
The Knicks fell out fairly early on in the rumors.
Well, because he came out and said he didn't want to sign an extension.
Sure,
he would have been a 1-year rental.
Sure,
and he wanted obviously to ride out his career as he's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
With a team that he thought he could go with. Houston is an interesting pick because, granted, they had a great season last year, but next season is wide open.
Yeah.
I don't really see this getting them over the hump per se.
Can we just appreciate that in the last 10, 15 years, they've all the Houston Rockets have at different points had James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah.
Just not at the same time.
It's a wild stat to believe, but it's true. But
it's going to be like a Jeopardy question someday.
But yeah, Houston's got to deal with that too. I mean, Drew Holiday was traded from Boston to the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, he's a 2-time Trailblazer now.
Yeah.
Rumor is they're trying to, and by that I mean the Celtics are trying to ship the unicorn.
Well,
keyword trying.
I think they have to look at it as next season is, unfortunately for Celtics fans,
it's going to be ugly.
It's going to be bad because without Jason Tatum there, you really don't have a chance to make a run.
Well, and especially, I think the discussion around the Boston Celtics, outside of, well, can they repeat, was don't get used to this team next year because there's no way they can feasibly or financially support everybody on this team together.
Well, it's the same thing that we talked about with OKC. I mean, when you have great teams that play together for a while, it's the one good and bad about a salary cap.
Yeah.
You can't keep everybody there forever.
They'll say the anomaly was the Miami Heat with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, was that they had all those, I'm not going to say great, but they had those pretty good players on their bench who were signing for pennies.
Yeah, they signed for league minimums.
Yeah,
so,
not everybody can do that.
Yeah, that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing that was going to happen.
Not every player is willing to do that.
No. And, I mean, obviously, as we're coming to Air 2, the Pelicans are trading C.J. McCollum and Kelly Olynyk to Washington for Jordan Poole.
Oh, interesting.
And the 40th pick and Sadiq Bey. So there's a lot of moves that are happening right now as we're going on air, but this is all leading into the draft, which is taking place Wednesday night.
All gas, no brakes.
Yeah, well, teams want to get lined up because, as we alluded to with the NFL draft, you have a chance to really make an impression on your franchise for years to come. The NBA is a little different, though, because only 2 rounds.
Yep.
And then, obviously, there's a lot of moving parts that happen after that. A lot of the players picked on teams don't stay where they are unless you're the number 1.
Wait a week to buy your a player's jersey.
Yes.
Because who he gets drafted with, odds are, may not be who he ends up with.
Completely. So we say buyer beware on the jerseys.
Also, shout out to the greatest NBA draft video of all time, Tingus Pingus.
Yep.
If you don't know, look it up.
Oh, yeah. There'll be a lot going on with that. But as we alluded to, the draft is taking place on Wednesday.
Yep.
Pad, you got the lineup?
I do. So you want me to go for the first 10 or just the whole first round?
We'll go first 10.
First 10. So the number 1 overall pick, rigged, is going to the rigged Dallas Mavericks, who rigged it. Oh, sorry. Stumbled.
Allegedly.
Oh, allegedly my backside. Number 2 is the San Antonio Spurs. 3 is the Philadelphia 76ers. 4 are the Charlotte Hornets. 5 are the Utah Jazz. 6 are the Washington Wizards. 7 are the New Orleans Pelicans. 8 are the Brooklyn Nets. 9 are the Toronto Raptors. And then number 10 was the Houston Rockets, although now with the Kevin Durant trade, will be the Phoenix Suns.
So, obviously, Dallas pulled off the quote-unquote miracle to get the number 1 pick.
You call it miracle. I call it something else.
Yeah, I know. We have to do it for the legal reasons.
I know.
But, obviously, we knew Cooper Flagg coming out of Duke was going to be the number 1 pick, and there's no shock there.
Nope.
I think that is probably the safest pick they can do.
Oh, yeah.
Albeit, though, Dallas is in a very weird spot this year.
Yeah.
With new ownership and obviously getting rid of Luka Doncic. And then as we were going to air, Kyrie Irving did not get an extension yet.
Oh, Lord.
So, and also Jason Kidd did not get an extension as coach, if I have read correctly.
Well, last I checked, the Knicks still had a head coaching vacancy.
Right.
I realize they're going to interview the dude from Minnesota, but hey, still got time.
Well, I think they're buying some time, honestly. I really think.
Yeah,
I really think they are.
It could be. Well, and plus the season just ended like 48 hours ago.
I know. Well, of course, every New York media is freaking out that they haven't signed a coach yet. They don't need to.
Well, to be fair, they tried interviewing some folks. I believe the number I counted last was like 4 or 5. They got denied every time.
Well, I think they're waiting on somebody special, and they just have not been able to get a hold of them.
That could be
for reasons. That's because I think everybody they asked about, they knew there was no chance.
Well, it's been, like I said, it's been reported. And you can go Google. Sure. You can go Google it. There's been at least 4 or 5 guys from various other teams because, of course, the way the NBA works, you can't just call a guy up who's employed and say, hey, we want to interview. You got to get permission. Yeah. They got denied by the team every time.
Yeah.
And the one from Minnesota today is the first one I've heard of because I believe he's an assistant with them. He's been with the team since 2021. He's the first one that they've at least gotten permission from the team to interview.
They also talked to a former Memphis coach. They got an interview lined up in Mike Brown.
Yeah, I did hear that one.
So, and I know Mark Jackson's name keeps circulating too.
Which is odd, but hey, I got it.
I'd be all right with that, but
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait to see about that. But like we say, Dallas is in kind of a weird situation too. That there's a lot of, and I didn't think I'd ever say this about them in the current regime, but there's a lot of instability there. And when you don't have a stable, franchise to really build off of. It will be interesting to see how the number 1 pick goes. But I think Cooper Flagg from Duke, that's the solid number 1. I don't think there's any question of that.
Yeah.
Then you go into one of the 2 areas which I think are going to be very, very interesting to watch. The number 2 pick, as we record, is the San Antonio Spurs. Correct, Pat?
That is indeed correct.
Now, they have been rumored, and I do mean rumored.
Bold, italicized, all capitals.
Yes. To be interested about trading the number 2 pick.
I could see it.
And I think it just depends on for who.
Sure.
And sure, Giannis is arguably the biggest name you can throw out there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see this happening.
Giannis and Wemby down low is like a cheat code.
Oh, yeah. But
it's the type of shit you do on NBA 2K.
But depending on how they want to take it, that's going to be the question. Because will they move this? I don't know. I fully think, in my unofficial ODPH opinion, they are going to take Dylan Harper from Rutgers.
Okay.
He's the shooting guard. Obviously, he's not Cooper Flagg.
No.
But he is arguably up there in the top 3 best players in this draft.
Sure.
So I think they're going to. Which, listen, that's all you really kind of need to pair with Wemby.
Yeah.
Is get him a shooter that can really take some pressure off him down low.
Yeah.
Kick the ball out and drain it. So I think he's got probably the best chance to do this.
Sure.
Now, I don't know how this all plays, but that's where I'm going with. How about you?
I think they'll end up keeping the pick and they'll go with a guard or something on there just because Wemby's a good start. You know, there's some promise there, but you got to get some other pieces going around him. It's going to be interesting to see what they do because they got the new head coach there, and Popovich no longer the head coach. They've got Mitch Johnson, who's been in the system with the Spurs since 2019. And he was with their G League team, the Austin Spurs, since 2016. So he's been in that organization for going on 10 years now. So if there's ever a guy you want to have in your system, he's a pretty darn good one as it stands. But no, I think they'll end up, unless somebody like presents them with a trade offer that they'd be stupid to turn down and be like, yeah, we can't turn this down. Let's do it. I think they'll keep it and they'll end up drafting somebody.
Okay. Then next up, you have another team which I could see moving, and that's the Philadelphia 76ers. I am not sold on them grabbing somebody at this position.
Okay.
I'm really not. I think that they have enough problems down there that they need to move something. If they really want to make a splash, you can offer the 3 pick for something, and really get a great asset. But there's so many problems. I don't even know where you go. Like that's the issue.
They need everything and the kitchen sink.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say this one they move.
Okay.
For player to be named ...
Okay, good say it. After that, we get the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay, so the Hornets are an interesting one too, because I think they need a guard of sorts.
Yeah.
I just don't know if this is where you're going to see Ace Bailey fall. I don't think he does. If I have to make a prediction, I think they get the shooting guard out of Baylor, VJ Edgecombe.
Sure.
I think he winds up there. I think him and Ball will actually be a solid 1-2 there. So I could see that, and that makes a lot more sense to me. So I think that's where it's going to wind up. But I think they keep this one. I don't think they move.
Yeah, no, I can't see Philly.
Or Charlotte, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, Charlotte. Moving this, they got a lot of needs they need to address, and trading them doesn't help them at all.
I agree.
Next up would be the Utah Jazz.
Utah Jazz. I think we're going back to Duke for this one. Konopel.
Okay.
The shooting guard and forward. I think he would be a good fit out there.
Okay.
I think he can definitely add to what they're building out there. Like I said, is he the best one in this position? No, but I think for what they need, I think he'll be okay.
Okay.
Because like I said, he's probably one of the best shooters they have coming on the draft.
Yeah, no, they'll probably end up drafting a guy out of there. I don't see that, especially with just the West and how loaded the West is. Can't ever have enough help.
Yeah.
Then you got the Washington Wizards.
So this is where I think Ace Bailey falls. Now, he is the other highly touted recruit coming out of Rutgers.
Right.
This one, though, if I've read correctly, he's declined workout invites for a few teams.
Yikes.
That does scare me. That if you're not working out for teams.
What are you hiding?
Yeah. So I have a feeling, though, win, lose, or draw, he winds up as a Wizard. And I think if he goes there, the Wizards need all the help they can get.
Right.
So I think he'll do something there. But obviously having the number 2 pick last year with Alex Sarr.
Yeah.
Obviously I don't think they really did a lot there. So Washington's going to be in rebuild mode. I'm not expecting a lot out of Bailey first couple seasons, so we'll have to see what he gets. But I think he's too talented for them to pass up at this stage. I really do.
According to an article from ESPN from Jonathan Givney and Shams Sharania, last week he was indeed, he being Ace Bailey, was indeed slated to fly to Philadelphia on Friday last week for dinner with the team's front office and a private workout, but elected to cancel on Wednesday, sources told ESPN.
Yeah, see, my spider sense is going off about this. There's something wrong if he's declining team meetings.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe this is like they draft him and trade him type situation. I'm not saying I'm not saying it's going to be Bailey, but I could see Washington taking somebody here and then trading him away for somebody else.
I believe it.
Then you've got the New Orleans Pelicans.
Pelicans are going to be an interesting team to watch.
Yeah.
I don't really have a clear-cut pick for them per se. I mean, I think they're going to need to do something. This one, though, I think would make a lot of sense if they took Trey Johnson from Texas
Oh, okay.
as a shooting guard. I think that obviously
That would make sense.
he's somebody that I think could really help them. Mm-hmm. But the Pelicans, you never know what they're going to wind up doing. Like they're usually tied into most draft trades
Yeah.
that go on, in my opinion.
Their
So
name's thrown around a lot.
yeah, so like I say, if they took Trey Johnson here, I think it's a solid pick, but I don't know if he winds up staying there by the end of the weekend.
Could be the case. Then you've got the Brooklyn Nets.
No comment. No, like if I have to say, in all honesty, I mean, they could go a couple different routes.
I could see him trading it.
I could see them trading too.
Because I think at this point it wouldn't surprise me if there's somebody sitting there, especially the latter half of that first round, that's getting a little nervous jerky that some guy they want, they're hearing rumbles, might not be there by the time they get around. That they're like, we got to get up there. We got to get him now.
Yeah, I mean, Kamal Malchik from Duke, that's a name they could throw in there if they
Sure.
want to add some height in. But the one thing here is if they don't go for position, they're still loaded with draft picks thanks to the Knicks for trading for Mikal Bridges.
Yes.
So they're in a position if they want to move, they can move some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if they, even they want to throw a package and move up.
Yeah.
Like they could if they really felt anybody other than Flag they
Yeah,
could get.
I
So
can see it.
I'll say this: I think they move. I don't think.
Yeah.
They take.
Then you've got the Toronto Raptors.
Boy, I don't know. This one, it depends too, because I've heard Giannis's name tied here, as well as obviously there's a few organizations he's been tied with a connection to. I think that if he is going to move to Toronto, this is where they move some picks.
Okay.
So I'm going to say if this is, but I mean, I don't think he's leaving Milwaukee. In all honesty, I think
Right.
it's a nice rumor to start.
Yeah.
But I don't think he does. But this one, I don't know. I mean, I could see them taking Colin Murray Boyles from South Carolina, power forward. He does play center too. I could see them grabbing him there.
Yeah.
As well. So we'll have to see.
Then number 10 was the Houston Rockets. Now is going to the Phoenix Suns as part of the Kevin Durant trade.
Well, the one thing I'll say is they don't need shooting guards. They have 5, I believe, in their starting lineup right now.
Something like that.
It's
yeah.
something with all these moves. So they have to go get some height underneath. They have to go get somebody. I don't doubt them taking possibly Carter Bryant from Arizona. Mm-hmm. He's a shooting forward, power forward. Can
Lord
definitely
have mercy.
can make something. Yeah, you're looking at their depth
I'm
chart.
looking at their depth chart.
Yeah.
So they've got Devin Booker, Tyus Jones, Colin Gillespie, Ty Washington Jr., and Monty Morris listed as point guards. Mm-hmm. Shooting guards, they've got Jalen Green, Cody Martin, Bradley Beal, Colin Gillespie, and Grayson Allen.
Yeah.
And forwards, they ain't hurting on either. They've got 5 forwards. Bradley Beal, Grayson Allen, Dylan Brooks, Cody Martin, Ryan Dunn. And there's a small forward, power forward is Dylan Brooks, Ryan Dunn, Royce O'Neal, Cody Martin, and Bull Bull. Bull Bull's still in the league. Wow.
Yeah.
And then centers ho-hum. They've only got 4. Nick Richards, Oso Iguodaro, Mason Plumlee, and Bull Bull.
I mean, they have some people doing double duty. But,
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same point, though, like they're loaded.
Shooting the guards ain't no double duty.
Yeah, the guards. That's the thing. They got too many guards.
Uh-huh.
So they need some size underneath.
Too many guards. Too many
Yeah.
guards.
Yeah, so I think that's what they're going to have to do.
Probably.
But obviously, I think they're more enticing to try getting rid of Bradley Beal's contract.
Oh, guaranteed.
I would not doubt seeing him move on draft night. Now, where? I don't know. Maybe Brooklyn. That could be something as well for
Sacramento.
picks. Well, you never know. I mean, that's one thing about the draft that I think somebody's going to sneak in there and make some moves. Mm-hmm. I just don't know who. And like after that, I mean, it's kind of wide open for the rest of the league.
It really is.
Because
The only guarantee we have is Flag is going number 1.
yeah, that's the only one that I don't see moving under any circumstance. Everybody else is wide open. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a couple players I definitely would keep an eye out for. Obviously, New York does not have a pick here, so I'm not even considering the players going there unless they pull off some trade magic. Mm-hmm. But I am very curious to see where Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida goes. Mm-hmm. I mean, he did a amazing Final Four performance, so I don't doubt him getting into the first round at some point. And then there was a name that really jumped out to me, and I caught first take this morning, so obviously Stephen A. Smith was singing this gentleman's praises.
Yeah.
And it was one that I was like, okay, I don't know, but it's Stephen A. Smith, so I mean,
Grain of salt.
yeah. and that was Jeremiah Fears, point guard from Oklahoma.
Really?
Was making a lot of comparisons to Kyrie Irving.
Oh,
He said in a couple of years.
that's quite the comparison.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, and he's in that first round too. So unless, like I say, unless
Something weird happens,
something
yeah.
is going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, but after that, like honestly, the draft is wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's anybody that really needs to have a great draft per se, except a team that is stockpiling picks. Not like Oklahoma City,
Right.
that has picks for forever. But I think like for Brooklyn, they need something to bounce back.
I don't say they need to have the best draft, but boy, they can't afford any misses.
No, they can't. I think that they're in a situation they can't. Memphis is another one too.
Yeah.
I think
Window's closing on them.
I think obviously they were making some moves there as well.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that they have to go get somebody and really make some noise. Plus, if there's a team that's right on that cusp of breaking out, like I think San Antonio, I don't doubt them making some moves.
Yeah.
I mean, other than Giannis, I mean, there's not a real crazy free agent out there that,
No.
or even one that's been like rumored to go that I think would put him over the hump, so to speak.
No.
But I think this is going to be one to watch and to see where players wind up. But then, like we say, after you get out of that first five,
Yeah.
that's when I would not put stock on people landing where they get taken. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to kind of wait to see how it plays out. But obviously, a lot of headlines going in with that. And it's already the NBA offseason.
And we already have breaking news.
Ooh.
The NBA owners have approved a $1.5 billion sale of the Minnesota Timberwolves
Wow.
and the Minnesota Lynx. It is going to a investment group led by e-commerce entrepreneur Mark Lohr. That's a fancy schmancy way of saying, hey, he's the founder, chairman, and CEO of the Wonder Group. And also on that group, Alex Rodriguez.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It gained, so this from the article on ESPN.com. It gained NBA approval on Tuesday, finalizing a complex and contentious process more than 4 years after the deal was reached.
Well, hey, congratulations. We'll have to see what they wind up making some moves. Minnesota could be another team making some moves, too, because I don't know if the Julius Randle, DiVincenzo move paid off as well as they had hoped.
Mm-hmm.
So like I say, a lot of headlines going into this offseason. So hit us up on the hashtag. Let us recap what happened in the NBA Finals. Let's talk the NBA Draft. And what team do you think is really going to make some moves that night? And how is your team doing? Let's talk about your offseason, shall we? But let's get a quick breakout. We'll be right back.
You ever wondered what comics Mark from Vale is into? What Zach from Left Behind's favorite MCU movies are? Well, Metalcore Nerds is the show for you. My name is Sean Mott, and here at Metalcore Nerds, we cover the latest things in pop culture, whether it be Star Wars, Marvel, DC, AEW, and everything else in between. You can listen to the show every Monday on Adobe Howl at 7 p.m. Eastern, or find it anywhere you find podcasts after it debuts on the radio station.
The content you are listening to is part of the Nerd Initiative Podcast Network. For more info about the home of pop culture positivity, check out nerdinitiative.com.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. And Pad, are we time to talk some champions here?
Uh-huh.
Is it time to talk a night of champions?
Yes.
So let's break it down. WWE has a big event taking place this weekend.
Yeah, so taking place this weekend from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia in the Kingdom Arena, Night of Champions for the first time since 2023. Prior to that was, I believe, 2015, so it hasn't happened in a couple of years now. But yeah, Night of Champions is going down this Saturday with the special start time of 1 p.m. Eastern here in the States on Peacock. Check your local listings in your area for when it's on in your time zone. But yeah, special start time and a special card.
Yeah, definitely a special card going on. And obviously, they decided to do something kind of cool, doing the King and Queen of the Ring finals here, where I believe the winners, respectively, are going to get a title shot of their choosing.
Well, a title shot of the champion of their brand.
Okay. So
yeah. So it ain't they get to pick. Now, it's if you're SmackDown, you challenge the SmackDown champion. If you're Raw, you challenge the Raw champion.
So this is going to be a very fun event to see how it plays out. We kind of alluded to it last week, how the brackets were going to break, but let's go through the entire card and give our thoughts on this.
Yeah, so first match we're going to talk about is a singles matchup that was announced just last night, or alluded to just last night, as we record on Monday Night Raw. Sami Zayn taking on Karrion Kross.
About damn time. About damn time that Karrion Kross, who has gotten over organically with the crowd and the internet wrestling community in his current role in WWE, finally is on a card,
Yes.
let alone a pay-per-view card. So him and Sammy, that will be a fun match. But
Been building for a while.
it's been building for a while, but Cross needs to win this. I feel if he does not, then that is not boding well for his future with WWE.
If he doesn't, why are we even doing this?
Well, that's the whole
Sammy
point.
Sammy doesn't need it. Listen, I love Sammy to death. Fantastic wrestler, fantastic human being.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to win. He's over as you know what with the crowd. Got one of the best entrances going in WWE right now with his theme song. Doesn't need it. You've got Karrion Kross, like you said, lightning hot with the audience, lightning hot with the crowd and the internet, and everything he's got going on. He cut that wicked promo before WrestleMania or whatever it was, he had going on that took the entire community by storm. You need to strike while the iron's hot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, completely. So I think in this, and plus, Sami Zayn's like the modern Mick Foley, in my opinion. Like he's so over. It doesn't matter if he wins or loses. He's over. But this has to be Cross all day. So I fully think a clean pin, and then we kind of see where we go from here. I hope this is not a one-off. I hope they really start pushing him.
Sure.
Unless, of course, that whole rumor that his contract's up is there and X, Y, and Z. So hopefully I'm wrong.
Then you got another match that was announced just last night on Monday Night Raw, and that is in a street fight. You've got Rhea Ripley taking on Raquel Rodriguez.
Well, I think this is in response to Liv Morgan's injury.
Yep.
They're trying to buy some time to obviously see how long she's going to be out for.
Right. Liv's got the injury, and then Dom's got the quote-unquote injury because he was supposed to have a match with AJ Styles on the card. That got pulled.
Yeah, so...
Because reasons.
Reasons, indeed. But this one is a very solid fill-in match on short notice. I mean, them in a street fight, that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
I would imagine Raquel wins due to help from Roxanne Perez.
That'd be my guess.
It has to be, because otherwise I think if Rhea defeats her easily, then it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Next up is a singles match for the WWE United States Championship with Jacob Fatu defending his belt against Solo Sikoa.
So one of the storylines that has been really gaining some steam as of late has been Jacob Fatu's eventual face turn here against Solo Sikoa, who has been plotting against him for quite some time. So the bitter jealousy that has been brewing is finally turned into a match. This one, though, I'm going to say I think you have to give the title to Solo.
See, I'm thinking and still.
See, here's the only thing I have with this.
Okay.
If you don't give him the title, what are you going to do with him after this? And that's the one problem, because he's supposed to be the head of a faction.
Right.
Even though it's JC Mateo.
Yeah.
You have to think that eventually the Gorillas of Destiny are coming back in some way.
In theory, once they're back from injury, yeah.
We know Hikuleo is now officially doing dark matches on the roster.
Oh.
He was at the last SmackDown.
So I did not read that.
Yeah. So
interesting.
He wrestled. So that said, he's going to win by some nefarious means.
Maybe Hikuleo shows up Saturday.
That's where I'm thinking. They have to do something to get the belt off him. Because I think, even though Jacob's been a great champion.
All gas, no brakes.
Right. But if you don't do this and Solo's still supposed to be running a faction, then if he's not winning, then what are we doing here? So that's where I'm kind of going with my mentality about this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Solo by help.
Then you've got the Queen of the Ring tournament final going on between Asuka and Jade Cargill.
So this was a kind of a surprise for me, I got to admit.
Yeah.
I was not sure Asuka was going to be able to pull it off, but obviously defeating Alexa Bliss, big moment for her.
Sure.
And then Jade Cargill and Roxanne had a great match. So this is one, Jade is right there in grabbing the spotlight and definitely going to have a hell of a match with Asuka. This could steal the show, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
If I have to pick, though, because you have to think, okay, somebody's going to be fighting the champion of their respective brands.
Sure.
I have to lean that Jade Cargill is going to get the win.
Okay.
Because I still fully think that Jade is going to cash in against Tiffany Stratton.
You mean Naomi?
No, but Naomi's going to cash in. Like I said, she's going to cash in the Queen of the Ring title, and that's where Naomi comes in and steals it. That's where I think we're going with this. Because with Asuka, you could have her go fight for the title, but I don't think there's really the storyline there with her and Io.
I mean, they alluded to, like, oh, we've always wanted to face each other, but like,
Well, like I say, if
I wouldn't hate it, but like, there's not exactly like a juicy story there.
I agree. That's the only thing I would say. But listen, if you give me Io versus Asuka, I'm there all day. That's a main event no matter where you want to go.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how they want to play, but I think there's more storyline with Naomi, Jade, and then if Tiffany is the one that gets the belt taken from her in the process, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where they're going to eventually wind up going here.
I think it'll end up being Jade because the juicier story is with Jade winning things because, then Jade gets the championship opportunity at SummerSlam. So it would be Jade versus Tiffany at SummerSlam. And then at some point along the way, because I don't think she would do it beforehand to make it a triple threat, I would imagine it could be a, Damian Priest or Seth Rollins like partway through the match, or I think in Priest's case it was at the end of the match.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll have Naomi come out, cash in, screw Jade out of the title, and finally get one back and against Jade because, well, as you've seen online with the social media interactions, Naomi don't like Jade.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of money to be had there.
Yeah.
So that's where I think they're going.
Yeah, agreed. Then you've got the King of the Ring tournament final between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes.
Well, here, what can I say? I was going to try thinking something funny to say, adrenaline in my soul, something Cody Rhodes. But we had a feeling if whoever won on Friday night,
Randy or Sammy, we said Randy.
Yep, we said Randy won, Cody was going to win, and sure enough, that's exactly how it played out.
Good match, though.
Great match. So, but it also makes sense because if Jay had just won, Jey Uso, that is, if he had just won to get back in the title picture, I think that it proves that obviously they took the belt off him because they didn't want him losing to Gunther.
Yep,
or Goldberg rather. So this one though is a match fans have been waiting for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Randy and Cody are going to put on an instant classic. Just the only thing that'll be tricky is who wins after said match.
Yeah, this is the one I can't quite put my finger on.
Yeah, well, you have to think about it. So champion is Gunther as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if Cody wins, he'd face him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take a look at John Cena
Mm-hmm.
facing off against Randy Orton, but they already just did that.
They just did that.
So I think going off that elimination, I think Cody is going to wait.
Okay.
And I think he is going to ultimately win this.
Okay.
And then he gets his title shot against the winner of Goldberg and Gunther. And maybe, just maybe.
It's not. No, it won't be because Cody's.
Oh, he's on SmackDown.
He's on SmackDown. This is a strictly whoever wins this match is going up against whoever has the undisputed belt.
See, he's appeared so much on Raw lately.
Yeah.
I completely forgot. No, but
it's Randy and Cody are both SmackDown, so they're gonna get Cena or Punk, whoever wins that match.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I still think it's gonna be Cody because I think if I'm looking at how the stars are aligning for this,
sure.
Cody, Cena, SummerSlam.
Could see it.
I could definitely see that
Yeah,
happening.
I could see it. I got another one to add to that, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, so we both agree, Cody. And then this is going to be the main event. It is the singles match for the undisputed WWE Championship with one John Cena defending his belt against CM Punk.
Oh,
Hashtag fight forever.
a classic rivalry renewed.
Yin and yang.
I mean, obviously, their 2011 Money in the Bank match, legendary.
If you haven't seen it, go look it up.
Oh, the whole feud build up for it, the pipe bomb promo, which I mean, John Cena gave his own version of. I know you and I disagree about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
It was good. It was good.
I know-
I'm not sitting here saying it was a garbage promo and wasted my time and this and that, but Punk's was better.
See, no, completely, because Punk's was the first. It was original. It was
Yeah.
more. It was more raw. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Cena doing it kind of solidified the heel turn because let's face it, his promo work prior to has been very tame.
Ho hum.
Yeah. So the fact that he did something like this, that's the takeaway I have because, he wanted to say, because obviously everybody remembers this is the moment that puts CM Punk on the map. So the fact you want to try stealing from it and go into it a little bit, do it his own way. I will say, was surprised he mentioned Claudio Castagnoli.
Yeah.
Very surprised at that one. Not so much against Nick Nemeth and Matt Cardona because they're, I would say out of the three of them right now, obviously, two are not working for AEW.
Right.
So I was surprised.
Right.
Not completely like, whoa.
So Cardona's strictly indies. Nemeth is what, TNA?
Yeah, TNA, but let's face it, that's
and
pretty
then
much WWE.
Yeah, and then Claudio's AEW.
Right. So I did think that was interesting, and I'm not buying in any of the conspiracy theories about how he said it, or like he was over enunciating some letters. Like I saw some crazy stuff online.
Some people will reach for anything.
Yeah, I just think that this was a moment that you really wanted to just point out, like, I'm truly a heel. This is what it is.
Yeah. Because he did that, and then he went. He paused. He's like, "Oh, good, we're still on the air."
Yeah. Oh, he was waiting, because I think he was waiting to see what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that he understands the temp in the room better than anybody.
Yeah.
So this is the moment that really kind of sold him as the heel. They're going to have a great match.
Oh, absolutely.
No question about it. I do say I think Cena retains.
Oh, I agree.
And I think that obviously maybe Seth Rollins gets involved, maybe some kind of wacky hijinks. But I think at the end of the day, John Cena wins for reasons.
Rollins is retaining that Money in the Bank briefcase for Saturday night's main event in July.
I hope.
What I think is going to happen, because it's kind of been bubbling in the surface, and Cena got heated. You got to remember, Cena got heated. What was it this last week, the week prior, with Nick Aldis, with Ron Killings getting involved with Cena's stuff in the ring. I think what's ultimately going to end up happening is this is going to be a DQ. And whoever gets DQ'd, it ain't going to matter, because Cena's going to retain. Because Ron Killings is going to come out and interfere with the match, because he's still got an axe to grind against Cena for what he did. And it's going to cost Punk his championship opportunity. So I think what's ultimately going to happen is you're going to have a triple threat at SummerSlam between Cody, Punk, and Cena.
I mean, maybe. It's not.
I don't think Rollins will get involved with this. Could he? Sure. Will he? No, because ever since he came back from his injury, he's been pretty well set on getting the World Heavyweight Championship back. He's alluded to, I could go for Cena, I could go for that one, but I think that's just smoke and mirrors for, red herrings or whatever you want to call it. But no, I don't think Rollins is going to get involved in this. I think it's ultimately going to be Ron Killings, R-Truth, whatever you want to call him, gets involved, DQ, and then it leads to Punk getting pissed, like, hey, I got screwed out of my opportunity. I never got a chance at the belt because Killings came out, and that leads to triple threat at SummerSlam.
I mean, they could do that. I mean,
because you got to remember, SummerSlam 2 nights this year. So
sure.
So they really got to stack the cards.
Well, I think you're going to have a Roman Reigns appearance.
Probably, yeah.
You'll have something. That's why I say I think you're going to have Cena and Cody. The other night, I don't know. That one could be really tricky about what they want to do for main event.
Yeah.
I'm not doubting a CM Punk Seth Rollins main event there.
Could be.
I'm not doubting it.
Could be.
But it really depends on a few factors. I think Roman is one. Obviously, where TKO wants to go with it pending Saturday night's main event. Obviously, if Goldberg wins the belt,
he's going to win the belt, but it's going to be a Drew McIntyre length reign.
Well, yeah,
Rollins is cashing in on, if Goldberg wins at Saturday night's main event, just to have that image of him holding the belt one more time. Rollins is cashing in.
He should, but if they want to burn it that way, that's the only thing. I don't know if they will. So I would not doubt that Goldberg just gives it up and they have like a one-night tournament. Like they could do something like that. It's kind of, like I say.
They've done tournaments before.
Yeah, they've done in the past, or if they wanted to, hell, I'd do like a Royal Rumble style. Whoever's last winning wins the belt. Like just do something wild like that. It's not out of the realm of thought to think something like that, but I think at the end of the day, Cena is retaining this one. And then when we get back to the build for Saturday night's main event and SummerSlam,
right?
And unless we're missing one in between,
for the main roster, I don't believe so.
Yeah, then like I say, they're going to take their time. They're going to really build this one up.
Because for the network, whatever you want to call it, after this is Great American Bash, but that's NXT.
Right.
That's on July 12th. Then you've got Saturday night's main event, which is the same night from the State Farm Arena in Georgia. Then you've got Evolution, which is the night after. That's on July 13th. So that's the all-women's pay-per-view. And then you've got SummerSlam.
Yeah. So, like we say, there's a lot of moving parts happening here. But the only thing we can say is, we're recording, Night of Champions is still taking place this Saturday in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
And there's going to be a lot of storylines coming out of that card.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And we'll have a lot to talk about in here. I know Wrestling Night Live is going to go big about that as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, obviously, if it's a big event, they're going to be covering it. So, Rich and Sammy are going to have a lot to say Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I wouldn't doubt they do a pre-show extravaganza, if I can say that line. But in the meantime, though, hit us up. Let us know what you're thinking. Night of Champions is taking place this weekend. What's your predictions? Hashtag ODPH Pod. Where do you think is going to be the big storyline moving after this? That's the big question, because after this show, there's going to be a big shakeup happening somewhere. Where do you think it's going to be? So hit us up. Let us know. We're going to get another breakout. We'll be right back.
Do not adjust your dial, or well, your phone, your watch, or whatever the heck you're using to listen to the awesome podcast you're currently listening to. I am the Duke of Nerds, Tyler Mack, and I am here to tell you that being a nerd can be a bit overwhelming, especially after 30. Life moves pretty fast in our nerd culture, and if you don't take the time to notice things, you miss out. That's why I'm here. As your Duke of Nerds, I am charged with educating, enlightening, and entertaining you on all things nerdy. I do it by running the 30 to Nerdy podcast. 30 to Nerdy is a Badcast Company production and currently playing wherever you cast your pod. Follow along each episode using the hashtag 30andNerdyPod. And check out what all is going on at 30andNerdyPodcast.com. Whether it's DC, Marvel, comics, or video games, I have got you covered. So tune in now. Cheers to you, nerds.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and we have to dive into the world of the UFC. Pad, what is going down this weekend?
317 from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes, so a monster fight card is going down. I believe it's International Fight Week.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so if you are into the mixed martial arts, this is the Super Bowl for that. UFC always lines up a major card out in Vegas, and they definitely are celebrating putting people in the Hall of Fame. And like, it's a big, big event. It's a party atmosphere, but they have arguably the best card of the year.
Oh, yeah.
And this one is shaping up to that. I mean, obviously, I will say the two main events are definitely worthwhile, but especially the main card as well, pretty stacked.
Yeah.
So let's dive into it.
So the first match on the main card we've got is in the bantamweight division, where we've got Peyton Talbot taking on Felipe Lima.
So this one is definitely going to be a hard-hitting affair.
Yeah.
Lima, I like in this one. I think that definitely is not afraid to scrap. Talbot's up there too. So I think this one is a perfect one to start the main card.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna say Peyton Talbot on this one.
Yeah.
Next up is in the lightweight division, where we've got Beneil Dariush taking on Renato Moicano.
Oh, this one is going to be a fun one. Money Moicano against Beneil Dariush. They are definitely going to be swinging some definite strikes in this one. That I don't think this one is going to have a lot to do with the ground game. Dariush is a fighter that, obviously, being a lightweight staple, has been in that contention for quite some time. And then to kind of see like where he's going to wind up going from here, I think this is a must win for him.
Yeah.
But Moicano is right there with him. Like, you can't. This is how deep this division is.
So this will be a 9 versus 11 matchup. Beneil Dariush, the 9th ranked fighter in the lightweight division. Then you've got Moicano, the 11th ranked fighter in that division. So for their records, Beneil Dariush, 29 professional matches, record of 22 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw. Currently on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost to Arman Sarukin via knockout at a UFC on ESPN card back in December of 2023. Then he lost to Charles Oliveira via TKO at UFC 289. That was back in June of 2023. His last win was against Matsuts Gamrot. That was a unanimous decision win in October of 2022. For Renato Moicano, 27 professional matches, 20 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw. Currently on a 1-fight losing streak, although, hey, can't really fault him on this one. He lost to Islam Makhachev with a barbaro choke submission. That was back in January. Prior to that was on a, 4-fight win streak. His last win was against Benoit Saint-Denis. That was a doctor stoppage back at the UFC Fight Night card on September of 2024.
Yeah, so this one, I mean, obviously, I think both fighters really need this one. I like Moicano a lot, but Dariush is, I think, a little more well-rounded. But they're going to put up some fights. Like I say, this one I could see going to a decision.
Yeah.
I like this split decision for Dariush.
Okay. I'm going to say, Dariush as well. Next up is in the flyweight division. We've got Brandon Royval taking on Joshua Van.
So, Royval. Why do we know him so well, Pad? That is Coach Duffy's favorite fighter.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Outside of Connor.
Yeah.
The streak breaker, as he calls him.
Yeah, that's true.
So this one, this is going to be a fun one to watch. I was actually kind of surprised it was up this high, but you know what? I'm not mad about this.
Yeah.
So obviously Royval, in that flyweight echelon, he's always near the top.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Currently
really,
number one ranked fighter.
yeah, so I think for him, and especially Joshua Van's number 12.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a hell of a fight jump for him.
Yeah.
But I think Van is going to give him some competition. But like I say, Royval, I can't go against. So I'm going to take Royval via stoppage in the third.
Royval in 24 professional matches, record of 17 wins, 7 losses, currently on a 2-fight winning streak. Last fight was a split decision win against Setsuro Taira at a UFC Fight Night in October of last year. For Joshua Van, in 16 professional matches, has a record of 14 wins, 2 losses, currently on a 4-fight winning streak. Last fight was a knockout win for him against Bruno Gustavo da Silva. That was at UFC 316 back in June of last year. I'm going to say Royval.
Yeah, it's tough to go against. Like
Yeah.
I say, I mean, could Van do this? Absolutely. Like I'm not.
Anybody's got a chance.
I'm not saying he's going to get ran out of the building by any means.
Right.
I just think that Royval is ready for the moment. He's going to be up there. He's going to want to make some noise. So I fully understand this, but like I say, I think this is his to lose. So we'll have to definitely keep a see on that. Mm-hmm. Then we go into the co-main event.
Oh, baby. So this is for the UFC Flyweight Championship, where you've got Alexandra Pantoja defending his belt against Kai Kara France.
This is going to be fast and furious.
Oh, don't blink. You might miss it.
Seriously. They're going to be definitely throwing some bows in this one. They're definitely going to be making some strikes. This is going to be very fast action.
Uh-huh.
No question about this. I believe they've already met before
Let's see. They
on season 24 of The Ultimate Fighter.
something like that, yeah.
So,
Pantoja.
which, I mean, listen, that's you think about 9-year difference
Yeah.
and how much has been changed in that time. So I will say this is going to be one that is going to be a very interesting mix of dynamic. But I can't go against the champ. Pantoja is a wild man in the cage.
This is true.
But France is going to give him all he can handle.
Oh, yeah. So Kai Kara France, 37 professional matches, 25 wins, 11 losses, 1 no contest. Currently on a 1-fight winning streak. Won his last fight against Steve Eric. That was a TKO win at UFC 305 back in August of 2024. Prior to that, 2-fight losing streak. Lost to Amir Albazi via split decision. That was in June of 2023. And then lost to Brandon Moreno. That was a TKO at UFC 277 in July of 2022. For the champ, Alexandra Pantoja, 34 professional matches, 29 wins, 5 losses, currently on a, good heavens, 7-fight winning streak. Last win was against Kai Asukara. That was the rear naked choke submission at UFC 310 back in December of 2024. His last loss was to Askar Askarov. That was a unanimous decision loss at a UFC Fight Night, July 19th, 2020. So that was when they were on Fight Island.
Yeah.
Overseas. This one, I'm going to, listen, as you said, Pantoja's a madman, and I can't go against him.
Yeah, it can't. I mean, this is going to be like Kara France's best chances to make this a slow grind. He's going to have to pin him against the cage. He's got to use a lot of grappling against him. I just don't think he's going to be able to pull it off.
Nope.
I just think that Pantoja is going to go in there. He's going to want to put on a show. He's going to be amped up. Like I say, everybody really takes it to another level in this fight. So I fully think he's going to go completely crazy. I think he winds up stopping this in the 4th.
I agree with that one. And then we get to the main event of the evening. This is for the vacant UFC Lightweight Championship. You've got Ilia Topuria taking on Charles Oliveira.
So this is one of the domino effect fights that we had with Makhachev leaving 155, going up to 170.
Yep.
Topuria obviously winning the 145 championship, but is struggling to make weight for that, which understandable.
Yeah.
Listen, not faulting, not meaning anything negative about it. He understands he has to move up. It's a smart move up. He is obviously put right into a title shot against one of the scariest grapplers in that division, but he has been known to throw some hands as well, Charles Oliveira. So this is going to be a question of which Oliveira shows up. Is he going to be the one that is going to try outboxing the boxer? Or is he going to be the one that applies all the submission skills that he has and really put a spectacle on jiu-jitsu style? I think for his sake, he has to be the latter. He can't get into a standing match with
Good
Tapria.
Lord, no.
Tapria will just tear him apart. I think Oliveira does put on a show with this. I think the grappling, it just depends on how Tapria handles that move up in weight.
Yeah.
Because like I say, I understand he took out Volkanovski with a knockout.
Yep.
But the question is he going to be able to handle the grappling level of Oliveira? That's the big question.
So Ilia Topuria in 16 professional matches, 16 wins, no losses. As you alluded to, last couple fights, knocked out Max Holloway at UFC 308 back in October 2024, knocked out Alexander Volkanovski at UFC 298 in February 2024, and a unanimous decision win against Josh Emmett at a UFC on ABC card back in June 2023. For Charles Oliveira, 46 professional matches, 35 wins, 10 losses, 1 no contest, currently on a 1-fight winning streak. One against Michael Chandler was a unanimous decision win back in UFC 309. That was November of 2024. Prior to that, lost to Arman Sarukin. That was a split decision loss at UFC 300 in April of 2024.
Yeah, so this one, I got to go Oliveira.
Okay.
I think Tapria coming up there is going to, obviously, he's known to box.
Sure.
And sure, he's got a little grappling in him, but it's nothing on the level of Oliveira.
Right.
I think unless Oliveira does something really foolish and tries standing with him for 2 rounds, he's just got to take him down and submit him quick.
So I think it's going to be Topuria, and it ain't going to be drawn out because of his 16 professional wins, this being Topuria. 6 are by knockout, 8 are by submission, 2 are by decision. And I'm not even going to ask you to guess who the 2 are. I told you the one, Josh Emmett. That was in June of 2023. The only other fighter in his professional career that took him the distance was way back in his first fight in UFC. This was a UFC Fight Night card back in October of 2020. It was Youssef Zalal.
Yeah.
Took him the distance. Unanimous decision win, 3 5-minute rounds. Other than that, not after that was knockout, 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 arm triangle choke submission. Then you got the unanimous decision against Josh Emmett, knockout, knockout. I think it's going to be Topuria, and it ain't going to be drawn out.
No, I don't.
Dude has got places to be and not a lot of time to get there.
I don't think this goes past the 3rd round.
I don't think it gets past 2.
I mean, it all depends on how that first round goes. I think the first round is going to be a boring one. I think they're going to be waiting to see what the other one does.
Because, again, looking at his recent record, the Max Holloway fight got into the 3rd round. He knocked out Volkanovski in the 2nd round. He submitted Mitchell in the 2nd round. He knocked out Jai Herbert in the 2nd round. He knocked out Ryan Hall in the 1st round. He knocked out Damon Hall in the 1st round. And then you have the Youssef Zalal fight, which was the other one that went the distance.
Yeah.
Then you get to his pre-UFC days. Knocked out a guy in the 1st round, submitted a guy in the 1st round, submitted a guy in the 1st round, another submission in the 1st, another submission in the 2nd. So he's been taken to the 3rd round, like twice? Mm-hmm. Yeah, twice.
Well, that's what I say.
3 times.
But still, it's the level he's going against the grappling.
Sure.
That's the thing.
Sure.
Oliveira is no joke. The only thing that I say, he is going to cost him the fight if he decides to stand with him. If he is like hearing that crowd, the crowd is going crazy, and he tries boxing with him, he's done. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, Tapria will knock him out in the 1st round if he's foolish enough to do this. Mm-hmm. Oliveira needs to make this a grappling fight. He needs to make this a boring fight, and then if he gets him to the ground, it's done.
Right.
He ain't getting back up. So I'm going to say Oliveira submission in the 3rd.
Okay.
But I would not doubt Tapria knockout in the 2nd.
I'm guessing Topuria knockout 2nd.
Yeah, it all depends on how that 1st round goes.
Right.
In all honesty.
Yeah.
But even with all this fight news going on,
Oh, boy.
there was a headline that stole the show, and
Lord have mercy.
we could have led with this, honestly, but you know what? Why not? Jon Jones has announced to the world that he is retiring.
Well, kind of.
Asterix.
He didn't. Dana did after the UFC on ABC card this past weekend at what was it, 7 in the evening here East Coast time?
It was something late.
Because the fight was over in Baku, Azerbaijan, so it was deep into the night over there. And the odd thing was, this was a reporter who asked Dana in the press conference after the card was over and done with. This was not the question that was led off with the press conference. This was like, from what I read, about 10, 11 minutes into the press conference, the reporter was asked this, and Dana told the reporter and told the room, Jon called them last night and told them he was done.
Well, there's a lot to digest here.
Uh-huh.
So Jon Jones was heavyweight champion, obviously.
Youngest champion in UFC history.
Ran roughshod over the 205 division for quite some time. And then over the past few years, stepped up to heavyweight.
Yep.
Took out Cyril Gane in 2023 for the belt. And then after that, defended...
Fought Stipe.
Fought Stipe at 309 in November. Which that was, one title defense in 27 months.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to digest here. I'm just trying to find the words without kind of going into an editorial. So the deal is that they've been trying to have a fight between Tom Aspinall, who's been the number one contender, interim champion for I don't even know how long.
Quite a while.
It's been foolish, the amount that's been going on. And Jon has stayed ever so vigilant that he only wanted to fight Francis Ngannou. He did not want to fight anybody else.
He ducked Ngannou, let's be real.
Well, I think at the time the Ngannou deal was contract negotiations.
Yeah.
It fell through. He went to the PFL.
Yep.
It kind of put him in limbo. And he did not really think that, for whatever reason, he didn't want to fight Aspinall. Which, I mean, you can make your own assumptions.
Sure.
But for him to leave on this note, it's very, very puzzling. It's disheartening. I think because the situation is he's 37. He's still in great fighting shape.
Oh, yeah.
They could do this fight. He could win, walk away, and then nobody would have said the wiser.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that he did not want to fight Aspinall, who had been interim, like I say, he's interim champion for I don't know how long.
He won the interim heavyweight championship against Sergey Pavlovich at UFC 295 on November 11th, 2023.
Okay, so he's been an interim champ for that long.
For almost 2 years.
Yeah, and we haven't done anything with the title.
The only fight he's had since Sergey was he had to defend the interim heavyweight championship against Curtis Blades at UFC 304. That was in July of last year.
Yeah.
So it's almost been a year since his last fight. He's been waiting for Jon.
Yeah, and obviously we've heard rumors back and forth that the fight was going to go down. Dana was very adamant that he was going to pull it off, and it just straight up didn't happen. So it's kind of left a lot of question marks to be had. And I guess first and foremost is if Jon is truly done, because a fighter is never done until you don't see him coming back in the cage ever.
Yeah.
Where do you rank him as your all-time fighting list?
So for me, he doesn't make top 5. I thought about this and I kind of wrote it down. I didn't go past 5, but he might make top 10 if I really sat down and thought. He doesn't make top 5 for me. Now, we should say, disclaimer for new listeners, Jon is from our area.
Yes.
I went to the same high school as him. I walked the same hallways as him. He was 2 years ahead of me in high school, so I am familiar with, him and his brothers, Art and Chandler, the Super Bowl champions, with the Ravens and Patriots, respectively. But no, it's a great career. He certainly goes down as one of the greats. I mean, you can't, you look at the record, 28 and 1, and the one loss is a bullshit disqualification against Matt Hamill.
Yeah, nobody counts that
back in December 2009. Go back and watch that fight. He had Matt Hamill dead to rights, and the ref was being, I don't even know what phrase you want or adjective you want to use with it. The ref was just being, obnoxious and wouldn't call the fight, to the point where Jon was looking at the ref going, what more do you want me to do? And then you got the 1-0 contest, which was the Daniel Cormier fight back in 2017, where, Jon tested positive for Turnbull. For those who may not remember, that was the picograms scandal. So he certainly goes down as one of the greats, not the great, just because once he got out of the the light heavyweight division, and even towards the end is where it kind of started to get a little wonky and weird. And by that, I mean, early in his career, and especially after he won the belt, he was taking on anybody. Famously, there were the Gustafson fights where Gustafson, took him to nearly getting beat that first fight. Second one, not so much. Then you had the Daniel Cormier fights, which Cormier got him close. You can make an argument with the Dominic Reyes fight. You can certainly have that discussion that Dominic Reyes beat John. And you can certainly have that discussion, but that's where it kind of gets off the rails for me. And this is before you even get into all of the outside nonsense and shenanigans. Let's not forget he was supposed to have been the headline for what was it, UFC 200 before he screwed that up. And there's the video of Dana telling Cormier behind the scenes, like, sorry, your fight's off. John was an idiot again. So you've got all the off the field, I guess you could say, incidents. And then you look at his heavyweight where he wanted to go down as one of the greats, wanted to go down as the 2-division champ. And I'm sorry, he ducked Ngannou. He kept saying he wanted to fight Ngannou. He kept talking about it. Never happened. So then he went in, he picked, I want to fight Cyril Gane. Okay, you submitted Cyril Gane 2 minutes into the first round. And then obviously there was the injury and John was out for a year and then he had to wait for Stipe, whatever it was. And then he fought Stipe back in November 16th, 2024, when Stipe is 42 years old and hadn't had a fight in 3 years. His last fight before Jon Jones was against Francis Ngannou, UFC 260, March 27th, 2021. So I think you can look at it and say, listen, you can't take away from him the record and just he was dominant. The only loss was a BS loss that I think even Dana has said they've tried getting overturned, but the Nevada Athletic Commission they're
not budging.
They won't overturn it for whatever hard-headed reason they've got, and that's their decision. That's their prerogative. But you can't look at the legacy without looking at the fact that, let's face it, he ducked Ngannou, he ducked Aspinall, and Aspinall was right. Aspinall said months ago, I'm going to retire Jon Jones without ever fighting him. And he ended up being right. The other thing I want to bring up is John is a part of a list that he might not necessarily be happy about. There's a lot of lists he'll be on that he's happy about. This one, not so much. This is 600-plus day UFC title reigns with the least number of title defenses. Now, some of these might be injury, some of these might be outside circumstance, but regardless, the strict facts is these are 600-plus day title reigns with the least number of defenses. So these are 5 of them. Number 5, Weili Zhang, 603 days, 1 title defense. Randy Couture, he had a reign of 623 days, 1 title defense. Francis Ngannou, 659 days, 1 title defense. Robert Whittaker, 660 days, technically 0 title defenses, but there's an asterisk with that. It doesn't count in his official defense. Romero missed weight. Jon Jones is number 1, 840 days, 1 title defense. My issue with this whole thing is he's been jerking us around for the better part of almost a year now, where he's going to fight him, and then all of a sudden, you know what? I don't feel like fighting him. I'm going to retire.
Yeah, I mean,
and the fact that they did this at 7 whatever Eastern, because I don't remember the exact time, but it was fairly late in the day, Saturday. This went down that I got the notification. So it was even later over in Azerbaijan when fight week is this week. One of the greats, you should have done something at fight week, had a press conference, presented Aspinall with the belt there, whatever. But the fact that they decided to do this in the middle of the night in Azerbaijan just adds to the oddity of this.
Well, I think you just got to really take a look at his career in a nutshell.
Sure.
That obviously 29-1, nothing to sneeze about. I mean, technically it should be, it should be 29-0.
29-0, yeah.
But the thing that will always haunt him, I believe to a larger degree, is when you start taking a look at that window of time where he was only fighting once a year because he had issues going on.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of the cage, which
started 12 years ago.
Yeah. And you start taking a look at when he was only doing a fight 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017.
Yep.
So he's averaging 1 fight a year.
Yep.
Going into 2019, he beats Dominic Reyes, debatable, but he did.
It's the closest I think he ever came to losing. You can argue he lost
Well, no, the closest he ever came to losing was Alexander Gustafsson.
the first fight. Yeah.
Yeah, number one against Gustafsson, that's the closest he
Number
ever did.
2, he knocked him out in the 3rd round.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
He was playing with him for 2 rounds, and then he decided, all right, I'm done with this.
No, that first fight, he defeated him outright. I'm sorry, Gustafsson, you can make the argument for it. Second
Sure.
one, outright, no question about it.
Yeah.
And then you have to take a look at when he was fighting Thiago Santos, he was fighting Dominic Reyes. Those fights were debatable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, hell, you even had a split decision for Santos.
Santos, yep.
But this is the point where he decided to stop fighting at 205. And he waited literally 3 years
Yep.
to go fight for the heavyweight title.
Because he was adamant he wanted to fight Ngannou.
Well, that was the whole thing, that you factor in all the stuff from outside the cage, which prevented him from fighting consistently, to him trying to pick his opponents. And granted, I'm not mad at him for doing it because he wanted big money fights. But at the same time, if you're champion, you can only pick so many.
And if you want to fight big money fights, give up the belt.
Yeah.
Fight who you want to fight. Stop tying up the division and holding everybody else up.
Well, yeah, do what Conor does. Like, literally, that's all he was doing.
Yeah.
And it worked in his favor. You get paid. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, but if you're holding up a division, which you did, and you've literally set that back a couple of years.
He's held the division up effectively now for over 2 years.
Yeah.
Because he won the belt against Cyril Gane March of 2023. So he's held that division up effectively for 2 years.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, how long did he hold up the light heavyweight title?
Yeah.
Fighting once a year?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like you can make an argument for that too.
Yeah.
The outside the cage stuff held him back, and I think you have to have an honest take about it, and that's.
I mean, listen, there's an entire section on
Yeah.
his Wikipedia
Oh, there's a
page
whole section for
his
But it
controversies.
is what it is. But that's the whole point. You have to take a look at the whole body of work.
Yeah.
And the body of work is, unfortunately, the stuff outside the cage derailed what should have been a Hall of Fame, no-brainer, GOAT career. It's still a Hall of Fame career. You can argue the GOAT status, but then you have to look at what's on paper.
Yeah.
Fighting once a year because of reasons.
Yeah.
And you can see about when he's tested positive for stuff. I mean, it like
Picograms.
Yeah. So you can argue about that point. And then you start taking a look at the fights he's had.
Yeah.
I said when he vacated at, his fight was for the light heavyweight title and at 2020 there, you put on muscle for 3 years, and then you decided to fight once, and then you fought against Stipe, who, let's face it, we all knew he was past his prime. There was no excitement about that one.
Vacated the belt on August 17th, 2020.
Yeah.
Jan Blachowicz won the belt not even a little over a month later.
Oh, yeah, because they knew the minute he gave it up, they had to get that division rocking and rolling.
Yep.
And that's the problem. I mean, John, did he earn that right? Yeah, you could argue that. But at the same time, his stuff outside the cage derailed it. And you have to, as much as people, the diehard fans don't want to admit it, you have to have that conversation.
Yeah, you do.
So you can't sit there and give a pass on it. Had he not been in those situations, where would his career taken him? I don't know.
He would have been easily one of the best of all time.
Yeah. Well, I'd say he would have cleaned out the division. He probably would have gone to heavyweight sooner.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would have said. But then there's also the argument that you have to make, too. He made Daniel Cormier, arguably his biggest rival, come down to 205 when he never should have fought.
Nope.
Had John fought him at heavyweight, I really think in my heart of hearts that fight would have been a million times different.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to factor in a few things like this. Do I still think he's top 5? I will say for my list, yes.
Okay.
I don't have him at number 1, though.
Right.
I'm going to say my number 1, as much as I was not a fan of him per se, I always respected his abilities.
Sure.
And that's Anderson Silva.
Oh, yeah. Was division champion for like 10 years.
But he fought everybody they threw at him for the most part. For the most part. Like I say, there was a couple fights. Obviously, him and GSP was the dream fight everybody wanted to do. That never happened.
Yep.
Is what is.
Yep.
But I think for the majority of contenders he had at that division, he fought every name that there was.
Yeah.
Granted, was there some fights that I was like, okay, maybe you shouldn't be fighting this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, and then a couple times, like the Damian Maia fight comes to mind where he was screwing around for most of it.
Yeah.
Like, you could make an argument that maybe that would hold him back, but I don't think you can do that. I think for Silva's time period in the fight game, he has to be in that conversation. Habib has to be in that conversation. The only thing you can argue against him about that is he retired too soon.
Sure.
But he fought a majority of everybody they threw at him.
Oh, yeah.
He derailed the Conor McGregor hype train that has never recovered from that.
No. The only fight that I can think of that Habib wanted that just never happened because it's the most cursed fight in existence was Habib and Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, which who knows how that would have ended.
Yeah. They tried what, 5 times?
4 times.
4 times. And every time somebody got hurt.
Mm-hmm. But then you have to think about arguably the most underrated GOAT of all time, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson.
Cleaned out an entire division.
Mm-hmm.
The history of this show, which may or may not be buried someplace, we're on record, though, talking UFC cards, and Mighty Mouse defended his belt again. Oh, let's go look at the rankings just to see who, who's number 1 or number 2 ranked fighter to see who's possible. Oh, wait, there's nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaned out the division.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
It's a travesty that he doesn't get more recognition about that.
Uh-huh.
It really is, because I think he's in that if he's not top number 1, he's in that top 3.
Agreed.
Easy.
Agreed.
And anybody says otherwise doesn't understand the sport. Sorry, you don't. Maybe the greatest technical fighter that MMA has seen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree with that.
I'll say, like, you can't even question that. Then after that, you can start throwing some other names in that conversation.
Yeah.
You can throw Fedor in there.
Oh, yeah.
You have to remember his time when he was in Pride.
Yeah.
You can throw a GSP in there if you want.
Sure.
There's an argument to be had there as well.
Yeah.
But I think as far as Jon goes, he's in the conversation, but I don't think you can say it's a slam dunk.
No.
I really don't. I think
it's a hell of a career, and it's certainly a Hall of Fame career.
Oh, yeah, Hall of Fame easy.
But just when you look at the body of work in the octagon and outside, the outside stuff really derailed his in the octagon stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, completely. And that's the big question mark you'll always have.
Yeah.
You'll always have to have that, and you can't escape that conversation. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Because I think that he definitely has a Hall of Fame without question. But you want to start saying greatest of all time, there's always a what if by him.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't say there isn't. Like, nobody can. It's just, unfortunately, other things took away from this.
It's just wild to look back on his career now that we remember the come up, and we remember, the night he won the light heavyweight title.
Against Shogun.
Against Shogun. And remember that same day, because that fight was in Newark, New Jersey, where he was out for a morning run the day of, and somebody got, what was it? They got their purse stolen.
Yeah.
And he went running after the guy who stole it and chased him down and got the purse back to its owner. Mm-hmm. That, like, you look from where that went to where it led to in all the subsequent years after. It's something I think if you pitch to Hollywood would look at and go, this is utterly ridiculous. We're not doing this.
Yeah. One name we forgot to mention, though, Amanda Nunes.
Oh, absolutely. Nunes, the legend killer.
Yep.
You don't believe me? Go look up her record and go see who she's beat.
Exactly. So, like I say, there's names we're throwing ahead of Jon right there.
Old school guys will mention, like a Chuck Liddell or something.
Chuck had a time.
Yeah.
A time. I don't think he like body of work from point A to point B.
Oh, sure.
Especially that last stretch of run he had. No, you can't give it to him. Like I say, you can make the arguments you can honestly make for GOATs. You can make Silva. You can make Mighty Mouse. You can make Nunes.
Yeah.
Then you can start throwing in the GSPs. Then you can start throwing in Habib is in that, obviously that conversation.
It has to be.
Yeah. Well, you have to say. But then, like I say, then it kind of trickles down. I think Jon has to wind up in that 5 level, if not lower, depending on what you want to do it. Because just to kind of sum it up and really put a bow on it, what he did in the cage, phenomenal stuff. But the outside of the cage made a few and far between that you have to factor in a lot of those moving parts at that time. Mm-hmm. And you can't take that into perspective and say, oh, well, that would never happen, X, Y, Z. There's a lot of fights that should have happened that didn't. So you have to kind of pick and choose about where you rank in everybody. But nevertheless, we'll have a new heavyweight champion officially as soon as they find Aspinall an opponent to take on.
Yep.
In the meantime, though, here's some of the hashtag ODPH pod. UFC 317 is going to be taking place this weekend. Give us your fight predictions for that. And then Jon Jones, where do you rank him? Is he your top GOAT of all time for MMA? Or where is your top 5? Let's hit us up. Let us know. Let's have that discussion, shall we? We're going to get one last break out. We'll be right back.
This is Tom from Tom Joe Lou,
This is Matt from Sideroom Sounds.
and you're listening to ODPH Podcast.
Wanna go where no one knows my name, to the desert, the oceans, or the plains. 'Cause I wanna...
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, what you got?
Got some breaking news.
Oh.
I don't know if we got a phrase for this, like a Woj bomb, but Shams has got some breaking news. So according to Shams Charania, the Boston Celtics, Atlanta Hawks, and the Brooklyn Nets are finalizing a 3-team trade that sends Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick to the Atlanta Hawks,
Interesting.
Terrence Mann and the Atlanta Hawks number 22 pick, 2020 number 22 pick to the Brooklyn Nets, and Georges Niang and a second-round pick to the Boston Celtics. So looks like old Tingus Pingus the Unicorn's going south there.
Well, Boston's doing the rebuild. What can you say?
Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play.
Yep.
Going to look at the local minute now and the standings for the AA Eastern League and the Northeast Division where Binghamton Rumble Ponies play. Another week, still in first place.
That's right.
Binghamton currently sitting with a record of 45-22 in first place. The Hartford Yard Goats are in second place with 10 games behind the Rumble Ponies. The Portland Sea Dogs, who are the Boston Red Sox affiliate, 11 games behind the Rumble Ponies. Somerset Patriots, the Yankees affiliate, also 11 games behind the Rumble Ponies. New Hampshire Fisher Cats, the Toronto Blue Jays affiliate, 17 games behind the Rumble Ponies. And then the Reading Fightin' Phils, well, they ain't fighting so much because they are 20 games behind the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. Looking at the schedule from this past week, they were on the road in Harrisburg playing them. They had the game on Tuesday where they lost 7-3. Lost on the 18th, won on the 18th, Wednesday, by the final score of 7-3. Lost on Thursday by the final score of 4-2. Lost on Friday 9-3. Won on Saturday though 5-0. And then they won on Sunday by the final score of 8-6. They are home this week, so they do have a 6 game series against the Portland Sea Dogs. Game on Tuesday, June 24th at 6:07 p.m. Eastern. They got another one on Wednesday where that is also at 6:07 p.m. Eastern. Game on Thursday is at 6:07 p.m. Eastern. Got a couple of promos going on that night. First of which is Pride Night Divas, a music theme. We've got fireworks going on with that. So it says cap off Pride Night at the ballpark with a special edition of post-game diva themed fireworks. So you got that going on. There's also Pride Night, as we alluded to. It says baseball is for all. Join the Rumble Ponies as we celebrate the 4th annual Pride Night at the ballpark. It's also going to be a throwback Thursday where it'll be the Binghamton Mets and not the Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
Nice.
Friday is June 27th. That'll be at 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Got a couple of different programs going on with that one. First of which is there will be a fireworks from one of the local dealerships, country themed. So it'll be classic hits of country music, past and present, going on. Denim and diamonds, denim jeans, denim vests, denim jackets. Put on your best denim outfit and head down to the baseball diamond for country night. I would say check the weather before you head down to the ballpark.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
So then it is also post-game diamond dig. It says underneath the dirt of the baseball diamond, an actual diamond has been hidden. Sign up for your chance to take the field with a small pail and plastic spoon and look for the diamond within. One lucky fan will go home with the diamond thanks to our local jewelry partners. A little interesting there. Then you've got Red's Line Dancing Class. It says arrive early for special line dance classes from the local country line dancer Red. Red's line dancing will take place down the right field line from 6 to 7 p.m. I'm having flashbacks to elementary school that I don't want to have right now. If you know, you know.
Yep.
Saturday is at 6:07 p.m. Eastern, and boy, this is one I've been looking forward to all year. Got two things going on. It is, look, I'm a bathtub donkey. Yes, it says, quote, in a land far, far away, the Binghamton Rumble Ponies transformed from their traditional moniker to the bathtub donkeys to celebrate a popular unwritten law in New York. Back in the 1800s, in the city of Brooklyn, it was put into law that a donkey could not sleep in a bathtub. Out of the unwritten law came the Binghamton Bathtub Donkeys. So they will also be, as a result, wearing Bathtub Donkey specialty jerseys. And there will be Bathtub Donkey towel giveaways. This is the one that made the news all over the internet when they announced this.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that'll be going on. Boy, I'm looking forward to that one. And then you got Sunday at 5:05 p.m. Eastern. Got a couple things going on with this one. It is a Kids Eat Free Sunday. So this is all children 12 and under receive a ticket voucher good for 1 hot dog and 1 regular soda. You've got a Touch a Truck pregame event. It says bring the kids out to a special pregame Touch a Truck event in the Marabito Stadium parking lot. All kids 12 and under can get up close with one of the trucks from various community partners and organizations. It's a Kids Club Sunday, so this is every home game at Marabito Stadium. Sunday home game at Marabito Stadium is a Dick's Sporting Goods House of Sports Kids Club Sunday. For $15, register your child, 12 and under, into the coolest club around town. Kids Club membership includes one reserved grandstand ticket to all Sunday home games and a bonus game on July 20th, Super Splash Day. Shirt, lanyard, and access to Kids Club member exclusive events. Also, it's off to the races night. It says, Mama, we're going fast. Come out and celebrate all things racing on Off to the Races night. So for more tickets, information, all that good stuff, bingrp.com.
Definitely keep an eye out for minor league baseball wherever you're at.
Yeah.
It's always good to go out to enjoy the summertime unless it's 98 degrees out.
Oh, my Lord, yeah. Then we got to talk a little bit about Major League Baseball because All-Star Game quickly approaching. Balloting is open. We do have an update on the leading players at each position. I'm not going to run through all three players, but just run through the leaders at each position, starting with the American League. Leading vote getter at catcher, Cal Raleigh from the Seattle Mariners, having a phenomenal season this year. Holy
makes sense.
First base, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. from the Toronto Blue Jays.
No shock.
Yep. Leading at second base. This one's a little surprising. Gleyber Torres.
Really?
Having a decent year out in Detroit, though. So, hey, good for him. Third base, no surprise, is Jose Ramirez from the Cleveland Guardians. Shortstop, a little surprised on this one. Jacob Wilson of the Sacramento Athletics, or whatever you want to call them these days.
The A's.
Then your leading three outfielders are Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees, Riley Green of the Detroit Tigers, and I'm happy about this one because, hey, talk about a comeback. Javier Baez of the Detroit Tigers.
Really good for him.
Absolutely. And then your leading vote getter at the designated hitter position from the Baltimore Orioles, Ryan O'Hearn. Flipping over to the National League, leading vote getter at catcher is, no surprise, Will Smith from the LA Dodgers. First base, again, no surprise, Freddie Freeman of the LA Dodgers. Second base is Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Third base is Manny Machado of the San Diego Padres. Shortstop, Francisco Lindor of the New York Mets. I feel like all of these are like, no kidding.
Yeah.
Outfield, leading three vote getters are Pete Crow Armstrong of the Chicago Cubs, Teoscar Hernandez of the LA Dodgers, and Kyle Tucker of the Chicago Cubs. Leading vote getter for designated hitter. Well, I'll give you three guesses, and the first two don't count.
Shoei.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani of the LA Dodgers. Interestingly, though, Rafael Devers, very close second, even though he just joined the National League.
He probably slid his votes over.
That's probably what it is. But yeah, so those are your leading vote getters for the MLB All-Star Game. Go to MLB.com/All-Star to vote. You can vote, I think it's like 25 times a month. It's something ridiculous. You can vote.
No Juan Soto?
Juan Soto is in the outfield, but he is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's not in the starting three. Ronald Acuna of the Atlanta Braves, which, hey, good comeback year for that guy.
Yes, indeed.
Love to see that. But yeah, Juan Soto is fifth in All-Star voting for the outfield over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
I was
we
like,
shall see.
I was just saying, like,
Yeah.
$800 million only gets a fifth place.
There's a joke that can be made there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
He is slightly ahead of Corbin Carroll, who is number 6 with the Diamondbacks, and I think he just went on the injured list. So we'll see.
Definitely have to take an eye on that. Obviously, with All-Star Game coming up, I mean, it's hard to believe the season's halfway done.
Oh, I know. Crazy.
It's crazy.
Yankees are having their mid-season tank already.
Yeah, but like I say, they usually bounce back after the break, so I'm happy for that.
Oh, yeah.
And the Mets have lost 9 out of 10, so.
New York baseball's not been good lately.
No, it has not been, so that's why we need to just focus on hockey and what's going to happen there. But in the meantime, though, we got a lot to recap with the NBA draft, which we'll be talking about next week. So in the meantime, hit us up on those social media accounts, #ODPHpod. That is it for this week. If for anything and everything that we might have forgotten, you can find it at ODPHpodcast.com. On behalf of Padawan J,
fuck the Astros.
I'm your host, Ken. Thank you, as always, for listening to the ODPH Podcast Sports Edition. We'll see you next time.
It's such waste of time swiping left and swiping right on people you could know. 'Cause anyone who's worth a damn be worth way more than a picture could ever show. You could find the right light, find the right angle, and never find your soul. feel like a losing battle, and this plot is full of holes. This modern way of finding love just makes me feel so alone. And I can't be the only one sick of staring at my phone. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Don't know that I believe in the old-time fable. Everyone has just one true love. All I know is you're across this table, and you're all I'm thinking of. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Talk to me. It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know. Whoa.